thank you so much for kicking us off. I have another great reader coming up next. This is Reyes Boitel. This is her book, which is over there on the table as well. I'm just going to read a little bio from the back. Reyes Boitel is a poet, playwright, and essayist, rabid music listener and researcher, novice hand percussionist, Texas transplant by way of Minnesota, Florida, Mexico, and Cuba. Welcome, Jo.
Thanks, Daniel, for setting it up with singing, because I'm not singing. I mean, I could, but people would be leaving. We got other readers. My book, Michael and Josephine, started as a dare of sorts for a poet here in Austin. Michelle Renee, her main name was Irene Larasiva. She's at another event at this time, so I can talk about her. I had written a really difficult manuscript that was huge about family drama, and she told me to put it away and start something that was loving. And I'm like, who doesn't? Like, what poet doesn't write about love? No? So I thought I'd flip it around a little bit, and so this is a novel in verse, and basically it tells a story, follows a narrative, but it's with the immediacy of poetry, image-centered, and it's so much easier to write than like the door closed. This person said this person said that. I go right into like the chisme stuff, so I'm just, like it's all the good stuff of a 400-page novel, but in this tiny, beautiful book that fits in your pocket. I'm just saying, you can put it in your pocket. So it centers on Josephine, a disaster relief worker, and Michael, Saint Michael, who is reimagined as a queer archangel, because we don't know. So I want to start with a kind of introduction. It's the first poem in the book. It's an introduction about Saint Michael. Saint Michael's logic. Saint Michael is feeling badass. Has cut her hair, and everyone says her ears are very nice. St. Michael walks around wearing her lover's old shoes left in the haste of moving out. When St. Michael sees her former love at the bar or planetarium, she remembers her Amante's words, "I have moved to a time before you existed." And so St. Michael, without pleasantries or concerns, lets the shoes walk her through. Smooth. St. Michael says, if she really believes I don't exist, she shouldn't be compelled to turn as I pass. You can bet she turned. So, before St. Michael, before Josephine, but no. St. Michael wasn't lucky in love. Not unlucky exactly. That's not right either. But women want attention. Eventually, a disruption in the world blossoms, and there are wars at every corner, and the dead need to be led to the after, and there are children without loved ones, and there is blood in the waterways, and there are earthquakes tearing into soft stone. Putting all of this aside, her wounded face, even as she falls into the tenderness, a woman asking, "How was your day, sweetheart?" The moment rage crawls from its damp space, she's compelled to answer. Impossible to toss that duty aside, to not humble herself to its pain, to not respond, leaving her lovers full of doubt. So as you can imagine, for me this book was very much two individuals who are community-minded, who know that they can help in their communities, but who also deserve and are trying for, open for love, for that personal relationship. St. Michael, obviously busy, the world is in chaos, but Josephine with her own. So here she goes to the Philippines. Josephine and the typhoon. Working on the ground takes its toll. Everything torn open. Those who have lost spill like floodwaters. Typhoon Copa hits the Philippines. 11 are gone and will never return. 11. The people still standing, their spirits bent, rice stalks in muddy fields, their spines pointed in the direction of a departing storm. Josephine signed up for this tour She will translate when others cannot find words. It is her offering to reach those who won't ask for help, who were raised to lift themselves. Josephine is called to a high bridge. She must convince families and farmers to leave the animals they managed to shelter for food by nightfall. It isn't safe to sleep out in the open, please. But few listen when the soles of their feet feel the strength of cement and steel. Sometimes that faith, feet on the earth, is all that remains. I think for me it was very important that we talk about migration and the borders, and it's happening throughout the world, and of course in our country, those who are immigrating, it means Mexican, and it isn't. It is worldwide, and people are getting hurt all over. And there are those who constantly are helping in whatever way, and we don't know anything about their stories. So as you can tell, Josephine and Michael are very busy, and so they try something old school. Josephine and Michael tried letter writing. My heart, yes. Divided beast, east and west, the anger of lamplight spilling into the street, never speaking. And you, base beating pushed into these walls, the unexpected kiss that has unraveled me. Should I apologize? No, no. 1,000 pieces of paper moistened, stuck together, filled with sweetness, beat to pieces. I should apologize. Maybe. A ball of feathers, cooing, nocturnal creature, hunger, welcomed by the unmothered child. Yes. You guys. Josephine collects the dishes. Not exquisite china, but sturdy ceramic. Dark blue in the face, grainy, bitter white on the broken cusps. Josephine picks up the largest pieces from the floor. She considers options for what can be done with the pointed edges, the curled lip of bowls. All that comes to mind are the tender gold corrections of Japanese pottery, the art of broken pieces. Sometimes we are art, sometimes we are pieces, she says to Michael, who has flown away, who always flies away after a fight. But Josephine knows her angel heard. She leaves the broken stack on the kitchen counter. Already the cat is rubbing his face on the painted edge. There is work to do, and so all of this will have to wait. When she returns, the house is dark and cool, purple blue and dim chandelier. The dishes together again, soft gold marks running across each face. So relationships are hard, and even the best ones have their internal, So obviously you have two people very busy, and they don't, and in the middle of this, that high point within the novel is there is some struggle and they separate. That's not the whole story. I'm telling you just the things you know are going to happen. I'm just saying, there's some goods up in here that you don't, I'm not reading to you. The house holds its breath. It's been 4 days since she left. The hallway glows in daylight. The sun insists. Michael tiptoes, a sleepwalk. She's given up speaking. Calls go unanswered. The loss of her lover, a needle weaving its way through her lips. Michael falls into the sofa, her back a curve, brittle wings. She spends hours placing her palms together, fingers spread out, close again like billowing gills. Then she returns to the bedroom once shared, the hottest room in the house. How often their fingers locked into the others as they led to comfort. Winter has come early this year. Seasons will do what they want. Michael summons her lover, a clay vessel veined with heartbreak, permanent fractures, a labyrinth built within her lover's ribs, desires stretch into life, an incomplete fire, cool rain, the potential of clouds, a cloak of balm and breath, but she does not return. So in between this, she hangs out with her archangel siblings, and they come to visit her. She gets consejos from Saint Barbara and San Martin de Porres, who puts her to work because San Martin de Porres has a lot of animals. But here is Saint Michael works on herself. Incapable of love, Josephine had said. Misspoken, surely, for how can the archangel, created and charged by God to protect and support humans, be anything but love? And yet, so little of Michael's life was in the presence of humans. God's breath pushed into Michael before the earth's making, before the cosmos itself. The surrounding darkness and its first burst of light, the vibration of creation residing within her without conflict. Love is creation. Love is constant. Love is patient. For humans, though, love begins and ends with what lives at arm's length. Before humans, love was one breath, shaped without doubt in its sustainability, without doubt within each celestial body. Doubt is a moonless winter night where humans birth their questions and fill each with inevitable choice. This is why we come together, to pull at the beauty within the darkness. But doubt also fosters fear, loss. Michael, witnessing the first fight, she called it lack of understanding, possession. And the world crumbled into pieces, continents rushed away, water gulfing between. A momentary chance for calm. Still, Michael couldn't separate herself from this. Couldn't say this wasn't also her path. Not when she'd already fallen so completely. Michael now linked with these lives, their hearts imprinted within her. Her rib cage swells with short, wet breaths, and tears will not stop, ushering in brokenness. Love is ever growing, bodies stretched tight around a knot, center tenderness circled by hard wood. Acceptance of this, a pledge to stay vulnerable again and again. Whether angel or human, we are cracked open by love, Michael realizes, as sure as the universe expands. I want to read two, because I linked them together now if I can find it. Okay. I moved past this poem without meaning to. It's kind of an opening. St. Michael recalls how she met Josephine. With autumn comes a sky forever powdered orange. It's a harvest party. And Michael first saw a woman the color of gold, with a laugh that shook her hair down her back into a cascade of leaves. Later that evening they were introduced formally. Josephine, this is Archangel Michael. Michael, Josephine. Both smiled. And when St. Michael spoke of having visited the Dominican Republic, Josephine offered a few steps of merengue, leaving Michael no choice but to offer her elbow and lead Josephine to the dance floor. They left together that night, dancing. As before all the Plato notes. Sorry about that, I meant to read it earlier. I'd like to close with this last poem. Josephine recalls how she met her one true love. Josephine's mother places cool towels across her daughter's forehead. The fever is 3 days long and inching up. Medicine isn't working. Josephine is 8, and her mother is worried. She sits at the small kitchen table overlooking the back patio's array of potted plants, rosemary, lavender, sage, yellow hibiscus, fiesta roses. She calls on the archangel to bring safety and help to her home, to her only daughter. I trust in you, Archangel. You who faces all fears, I trust you will protect her and love her. Through half-closed eyes, Josephine traces the sun's light, inching up the curtained windows. Coolness passes across her skin as a shadow comes through. Wings so close she can hear their shuffle, the click of each feather's vein. Michael places her hand on Josephine's forehead and until she falls asleep. Thank you all, and thanks to my honor books.